podcasting, if you use the medium, allows you to accomplish things that were never possible. So, for example, if I think about our episode with Judge Kelvin Filer from Compton, where else can you experience I forget exactly how long the show is, but an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours, but a lengthy dialogue with a sitting superior court judge, where the judge talks about everything from what it's like to be the judge in a murder trial and listen to victim impact statements when assessing sentencing, to his love of karaoke, growing up with his father, who was the founder of the NAACP in Compton, and really being literally at the birth of the civil rights movement, overcoming alcoholism, and everything in between. There's no other, like, if there was, and I don't mean to pick on anybody, I'll reference a show that I think is amazing, that I have tremendous respect for, and I mean no disrespect to, 60 Minutes. It's a great show. If there was a 60 Minutes feature on Judge Filer, and hey, those of you at 60 Minutes, because I know you're listening, you should do a feature on Judge Filer. But here would be the challenge. You would hear about this extraordinary man, and in between commercial breaks and setups and intros and outros and all that shit, you would get, how long, guys? How many minutes of Judge Filer would you get on 60 Minutes?
6.5.
Yeah, I'd say
maybe.
6.
Yeah.
Not 15, right?
Nope.
And so here's my thesis. The more tweets, Kardashians, and emojis there are, that is to say, as Erik Weihenmayer said on Legends and Losers, the world doesn't need more bullshit, right? So as the world just backs the bullshit truck up and keeps delivering all this crap, right? I tweeted something recently. I'm beginning to wonder, is Twitter going to be the new MySpace? Because it's just, my friend and guest on Legends and Losers, Adam Honig, said that Twitter is just like screaming in a nightclub now. Like nobody's engaging in anything. It's just like everybody's yelling, myself included, by the way. But my point is, the more sort of inane, inconsequential, irritating bullshit there is in the world, if you believe for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, there seems to be a huge part of the world that's craving something that's real, that's authentic, that delves into topics that matter, that isn't holier than thou, that gets into shit, right? And this, to me, if you're a person craving that, there's no other medium for that I'm aware of. Because if you take Judge Filer as an example, aren't going to do it on 60 Minutes, if you transcribe that dialogue and put it in a blog, no one's going to read it, myself included. And so to me, all that says this is an incredibly unique medium that's just beginning to be explored, because it's a place for something very in-depth, something very real to happen.
What 60 Minutes already has like that. They give those, little clips. If you want to see more about this story, go to the website. But even there, it's all edited video, right? So they picked out what they wanted. It's not like the entire interview that you had with the judge there.
And that's another interesting thing. And look, different people want different formats, and I appreciate that. And there's some very highly produced shows that I very much enjoy. So, I want to be very clear about that. That said, for us anyway, that's not what it's about. So we almost never, right, Matt, edit Legends and Losers.
No, very little. Basically just taking out technical issues and weird, awkward gaps. That's mostly about it. We try to keep the conversation as raw and authentic as possible.
And so that's a different thing, right? Because, and we're sort of hinting or touching on this a little bit earlier. I'm amazed most podcasters, Tom, they make a decision in their formats whether they realize it or not. I don't know that they do, that they're going to be an interview show. And if I'm interviewing you, you're being interviewed, right? And so you got your sound bites and your talking points and all that shit, and you got your shit ready to go. And I got my questions, and I some podcasters want to plan the podcast out ahead of time, so they'll send you the questions so that you can get ready and all that. And I get that, and there's a very clear rule for that. In our case, we're not any of that. I had a dialogue recently with an upcoming guest, and she sort of wanted to do that. Like, okay, let's get together. Let's have a call. There's many ways we could take this, and we could sort of plan this thing out. And I explained to her, as politely as I knew how, can't wait to have you on. And we're doing fucking none of that.
Planning's for people that aren't smart enough to make it up as they go.
That's a great line. Oh, love it. Yeah, but it is a different thing. And the thing about podcasting is, because it's such a, I guess, flexible form of distribution, it really comes down to what show do you want, because the sky is the limit. And we're not like the authentic dialogue kind of category that we're looking to dominate with Legends and Losers. That will not be the last category that's created in podcasting.
No.
There'll be many, many more to come, and there'll be other category kings of those categories, and that's great for them and good for them, right? We want to be the category king of the authentic, raw, unfiltered dialogue podcast. And I think there's a segment of the world, like you said, like what is it? They said that what does massive information overload create a lack of? Well, it's attention, right? So that's the equal, reaction to that. So we have all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, an overflow and an overabundance of short form content, whether it's Kim Kardashian selfies or emojis, perish of thought, or if it's just NPR super produced 20-minute get you from the commute and back kind of stuff. Yeah, it's going to create this demand for something that's more real. It's the same reason why we got, quote, reality television. But with podcasting, we actually can get super real, because now we have like a distribution format that allows us to send out freaking 2 hours of conversation. And as long as people listen to it, hey,